Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hoopin' with Christy and Debbie. That's Christy Winter Scott and Debbie Antonelli, and we are joined by one, the iconic that needs absolutely no introduction, Mowens. Beth Mowens, one of the all-time greats in the history of basketball in a variety of ways: pregame, postgame, in-game. That's how I would describe Beth, Christy. How about that? We got Mowens.
I love it. Hey, that's a trifecta right here. Listen, we got the floor balance. You got the three-level scores right here. Beth, welcome to the pod, my friend. Love to see you.
All I know is I only need the one name. So, it's like Madonna. It's like, Messi. Yeah. It's just Beth.
Yeah. Sabrina or Asia or Stewie. We can go like that too.
Exactly.
102-76, the final in the first game in pool play. The United States beats Japan. Japan did make 15 threes. This is 56 consecutive wins for USA basketball, looking like the dominant team. Yeah, they were flexing out there, especially in the second half when they put the ball on the floor and attacked the basket.
Yeah.
What'd you like about the game today, Beth?
Well, I like that they had a game plan and they were able to execute it so well. Obviously, playing against Japan, you've got the huge size advantage. And so they took care of business in the paint, on the glass. What is so impressive to me is, we talk about this all the time, especially in NCAA tournament playing in big games. So often the focus is on the guards because they tend to have the ball in their hands a lot more. But it was so impressive to watch the bigs not just do their thing where you expect them to be the best in the world at it, but the way they were able to run the floor today, I thought was one of the big reasons why they were able to, scrape off a little bit of that rust after that first quarter. They haven't had a whole lot of time to play together, but obviously they were in sync, especially with Chelsea Gray. She continues that trend of the United States having the best point guards in the world, and to be able to just keep feeding those bigs all day long. Obviously, that's going to change based on the opponent a little bit moving forward. Our guards are going to have to shoot it a lot better than they did today. That was definitely a bit of a head scratcher, how poorly we shot the three, but that was really the only blemish. Otherwise, it was a total team effort, and I was really impressed with the chemistry and how they were able to come together so quickly with so little time together.
Yeah.
Christy, Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart combined for 46 points, 21 boards, 7 assists, 7 blocks. To Beth's point about the interior play. Come on, big girl, give it to us. What did you like about what you saw from the bigs?
First of all, I love that they were on the floor together a lot in this game. I mean, the dynamic of them reading and reacting with each other, I thought was just really exceptional. And I told my son, so we were watching a game, and I said, listen, if I'm on the other team and I look up and I see Asia and Stewie, I don't know how I would feel about that. That's a tough matchup because they can kill you in so many different ways. They got to their kill spots on the floor, and you saw Chelsea Gray's ability to find them both in the shot pocket, in transition, like you were saying, Beth. But I just thought that they were just so good, like defensively too, I think. With block shots, I know Wilson had at least three blocks. I know Stewie had at least 3 as well. So it's not just their offensive prowess that was shining through in this game for me. Those two got it done on the defensive end. They also got to the glass, and they were able to preserve possessions on the offensive side too, and kicking that out. And I know the threes weren't falling, but they were able to attack closeouts and get to the rack. And that's what USA did well. They scored in the paint, but they also defended the paint very well, even though they didn't attack it a lot. Japan launched all those threes as they should have because of their height disadvantage. But I thought that they did a great job of taking care of the painted area on the defensive end as well.
And to your point, Christy, you look up and here comes Brittany Griner, who is just going to dominate everything at the front of the rim, right? And she did play well today. I thought she was really good in reading where the help came from. I thought she did a nice job of passing out at the double teams. Yeah. Beth, when you're looking at USA basketball, the strength in this 56-game winning streak has always been the depth. There's just no one that can stay with us once we get to the second half. It might be a first half game. What adjustments did you think that Cheryl Reeve made in the second half that made the team more aggressive?
Well, I love the what Christy touched on a second ago is that the bigs are able to play all together. And so I think there was a time or two in that first half where the bigs did get caught trying to, stretch out and defend the three, and it didn't go so well. So I think the move to, a lot more aggressive wing play, a lot more aggressive defensively on the switches helped them defend it a little better in the second half. The big thing for me today, though, was to kind of get their feet wet, Debbie.
Yeah.
Great to see Griner back in a USA jersey on an international floor. I thought that might have been the highlight of the day. And then the second big thing really is, for a lot of women of our generation, I mean, our GOAT tends to be Diana Taurasi. So not only is it spectacular, to hear all the GOAT conversations going on in the last 6 months or so, but to hear all the attention on women's basketball and a real opportunity, I think, here for the next 2 weeks for Diana Taurasi to have an amazing swan song with Team USA.
Yeah, she was in one of the press conferences talking about ageism and why everyone is asking about when she's going to retire, why she's so old. I think we're at a point where we should be celebrating all that Diana is doing, how she's led this team to this point. She's been a part of what would be 6 consecutive medals, going for a 7th. Just absolutely amazing to see over time how she's been able to keep her game at this level. Christy, when you think about all the greats in our game and you think about where Diana is, what comes to mind? You don't have to rank them or say, we have so much talk radio about LeBron and Michael, or, Kobe and Michael. We don't have to do that here because they're all great. It's really hard to split hairs on that. But what would you say about Diana?
I mean, she's the GOAT for me. And I know there are a lot of players that are in that conversation. And when you look at what she has been able to do over a 20-year career, I mean, she's 42 years old. She's been in the league 20 years, her 20th season. So let that sink in and marinate with that thought for a moment. But the ability to not just be on a roster, right, but to get out there and compete. And that's what she said. She alluded to on that Parisian podium. She said, listen, I want to win a gold medal again, right? I want us to win our 8th. I want to win my 6th. I want to be able to be a part of that. You never know when you can get back, and she's been able to get back. So for me, it's the consistency of excellence that Diana Taurasi has presented over the course of her career, going all the way back to UConn, going all the way back to high school, going all the way back to when she was on her driveway as a little kid. Like, all of that encompasses who she is as a competitor, regardless of her age, her gender, anything else. She is a winner. And for me, that will always stand out. When I hear the name Diana Taurasi, when I see her, I will go up to her and dap her up and hug her and appreciate her right now as she is representing the country yet again, wearing USA across her chest in a proud manner. And she understands right now that this is her last go around. She's already announced this is her last Olympic Games. And for her, like, to see it through her eyes, for me, is very profound, because she knows it's her last time through. Mm-hmm. So you know that she is just giving everything. Not that she hasn't before, but there's a little special extra incentive and emotion that goes along with this go round. And to have her court in Phoenix named after her, with her logo, with her hands up like that, I mean, that will live on. And then the energy and the professionalism of which she has just approached this game for years and decades will live on as well.
Beth, full transparency, you and I were in London in 2012, and we were at the medal round games. And I remember the Australian game that we were actually down by 2 at halftime. And then in the second half, we rallied, and once again, our depth was just too much. That was in the semis. And then we played France for the championship game, and we were in control the whole time. What do you remember from the 2012 Olympics in London and about our USA basketball experience on the sideline?
Mm-hmm. It was such an incredible moment, for any young girl that had grown up playing the game and being around the sport for a lifetime. That was kind of one of the great payoffs. And that's one of the things, Debbie, that really excites me about Los Angeles in 4 years, is the opportunity for so many young American girls to hopefully get a chance to get out and see them play, if not on television in prime time every night, to have that opportunity to sort of see it and you can be it. And for an adult woman to go in there and watch that in London with, we were there with a bunch of friends and certainly have had the good fortune of meeting a lot of people around USA Basketball over the years. It was just such a cool moment, to go in there and wear the colors as a fan, but also sort of have an understanding of what it took for all those women to get there, sort of having a chance to sit in on shoot-arounds and get to know a lot of those players over the years was really cool to watch, some of your friends and acquaintances be able to play in that moment that we all dream about. So really cool now to see the growth of the game, and just prior to these Olympics, how it has exploded just in the last couple of years and even in the last 6 months, with this incredible rookie class around the WNBA, and the future of the game looks as bright as it's ever been. And hopefully these Olympics will be another opportunity to celebrate that and build on it and continue to promote the game and continue to grow the game with a new set of stars moving forward.
I'm going to have to dig into my archives and come up with some pictures from our post-game celebrations, because we did get to celebrate with the team in some undisclosed basement of a hotel or something like that. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but it was really fun. It was so amazing to be around that kind of greatness, and celebrate it as a team. It wasn't one person's role was more important than another. It was a true sense of team. That's what I love about USA Basketball, is you have to check your ego, and you may not get as many touches, right?
I haven't had my name on a T-shirt though, like Christy. How many of those people were on national television today? I see LaChina, I see Kara,
Laura. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Melanie Page, Can't Retire documentary, all the DMVers right here. So Pam Ward, China Robinson was on the call today. Kara Lawson, she was coaching on a bench. Monica McNutt on ESPN and across all those platforms. And then Zora Stevenson, girl, she played at Oakton High School right down the street, but I just saw her on the ice skating yesterday. So the DMVers, we are in Paris. Mentally, I'm there on the Champs-Elysees, but physically
awesome.
here stateside, but it's fine. Sure. So
yeah, we know the you look good, Christy. Every time we show up with a different shirt, I've got my USA Basketball on and my USA Basketball hat, best sport in the colors and the letters too. We know that these rounds, without being so arrogant as to say, whatever, we know that no one has the depth. While the rest of the world has gotten better, and we did experience that firsthand in 2012, and we've watched the Olympics in 2016, and then in 2021 in Tokyo. Every year, the teams around USA Basketball are getting better because there's more WNBA influence that comes over, and we share each other's game, right? They teach us some things about the European style. We teach them some things on our side, and everyone's getting better, but still, there's such a separation. Like it would be an upset. It would almost be considered like an upset if any team was within, I'd say, 10 or 12 points of us in any, once we get to the medal rounds. I'm not thinking that we're not going to get to the medal rounds. I definitely think we're going to get there. What about some of the other countries? Are you guys familiar with, like, Nigeria beating Australia is one that's a head scratcher today? Everybody's a little surprised at that.
I thought that was a surprise. Obviously, I know Rebecca Allen is hurt, not playing with the Aussies for the Olympic Games with an injury. But when you look at what this Nigerian team was able to do to them, they turned them over 25 times. The guard play for Nigeria was phenomenal, and they just applied pressure on both sides of the floor. So I think, you have to have those kinds of games out of the gates just to be able to, like you were saying, Beth, just to, knock the rust off and figure each other out and get the chemistry together, especially in the absence of Rebecca Allen. But, I thought that it was really a statement making game. And same with Spain, right? I mean, there are teams that are really out here to get the job done out of the gates, showing that they're ready to play and win. And Germany beating Belgium also is another team that came out of the gates and looked really good with Satu Sabli. But Lauren Jackson on the Australian national team, I mean, she's 43 years old. Diana's 42. And they love the game so much. I mean, it's palpable. And I just love to see that, right? The game is still pure for them in every sense of the word. So I loved seeing Lauren Jackson out there knocking in a couple triples as well.
Yeah, I'm always interested to watch Canada because usually they have some players that we're all familiar with that played collegiately in the United States, and certainly that's the case again this time around. And since my mom was born in Canada, you know, I like to see our neighbors from the north sort of flirt with that podium, and hopefully they can have a nice breakthrough this time around too in Paris.
They had an upset earlier today. They've already lost one game in pool play. However, with the WNBA going to Canada and the expansion coming forward, what do you think that's going to mean for their international program?
Oh, I think it'll be huge. I think the fan base there is going to be spectacular. I think it's going to be a fun place for people to go and play. And you know, I think it's going to be another situation, Debbie, where if I'm a youngster in Toronto or you know, I can hop in the car and come down from Montreal or swing down from Ottawa. It's going to be fascinating to see the growth of young girls that may not have known a whole lot about the game, or it just wasn't something that they were in touch with, learn to love it from an early age. And hopefully as time passes, we'll see a lot more high-end talent continue to roll out of Canada.
What are you thinking, Christy? You know, not just Canada, but I think eventually there's going to be some European teams in the WNBA. I know the NBA is looking at it, so I got to believe the WNBA is going to be right there with them.
Absolutely, in lockstep, as they should, right? I think the growth globally of the game for men and women, I think we've seen that grow exponentially, especially on the WNBA side, with so many WNBA players going over there in the off season, which there really isn't one, but the off season outside of the WNBA season to go overseas and compete. So I think there's already that continuity. There's already that level of connectivity there. But I think with the team already being named going to Toronto, we've seen them play a couple preseason games there, and the success and just the ravenous support that we've seen. I think that bodes well for any other team to come along. And I know Kathy Engelbert, and she's done a tremendous job, obviously, with a team the Valkyries going to the Golden State area. I know that's going to be fun as well. But this game is going to continue to grow leaps and bounds. But I just think that's what you have to do. You got to give the people what they want, and they want their eyes on our game. And everyone watches women's sports for a reason. And I think the girl dads are on board. We've seen this just explosion of respect for the game. And I think that has no borders, right? I think that's why we're going to continue to see these international teams have possibility of success. And we are going to see the fans continue to support it, because why not? Should have been there. Welcome to the W. Should have been there from the beginning. But now that you're here, you can't go anywhere, man. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. The butterfly can't go back in the cocoon. Like, we're here to stay. And I just love the growth, and I love the possibility of it growing internationally.
You know, I'm doing my girls only sports camp, and this morning I've got a bunch of little girls, and I asked them if they watched the Olympics, and they all raised their hand, and almost every one of them had a different sport that they watched. One little girl even told me she watched field hockey this morning before she came to camp. So to that point, I'm seeing these little girls that love to play, some of the more traditional sports, or learning some other things, which leads me to this, Moens. We've worked together. This will be our 29th year together. So I know you love soccer, and soccer is a sport that I know you follow and you really care about. What about this Canadian spying thing? I got to get your take on that, because I'm interested what you think about what has transpired over the border.
Well, they've already been punished, and there may be more to come. This is something that I think we're all going to have to deal with in sports moving forward, as the technology continues to do what it is, to be what it is, and expanding and into AI and all kinds of stuff. We're really going to have to be watchdogs for our sports to try and catch this stuff before anything happens. It's unfortunate that This is a stain on their team and internationally on women's soccer. And, it's something that it has no place in any sport, and certainly not at the Olympic level. So, they got caught. They're going to pay for it. And they already have in terms of what a PR disaster it's been for them.
Yeah. And on the other side, how about the USA women's soccer? I watched the game, the first half yesterday. They were up 3-1 at the break. They're a really fun team to watch. I mean, they seem to really move the ball well, have great spacing, and it's a lot of basketball vernacular to me to watch them play, the way they pass and how quickly they move it, and one touch and they move it. What would you put your analytic hat on? Be Julie Foudy for a moment here for us and tell us what you think.
Well, I think they have adjusted incredibly quickly to a new coach, and that is something that hopefully the men's side is also keeping an eye on, because they have to transition really fast because we're hosting the World Cup next time around. So I think the ability for the women to smoothly roll sort of, we saw some growing pains after the 99ers left. And now I think we're seeing a much smoother transition from that last core of talent that was so instrumental in winning the last couple of World Cups into a lot of new faces and a lot of tremendous new young talent that is starting to move forward in the women's game. And, Debbie, in any sport, especially that one, you got to score. And you have to be entertaining. And the U.S. team plays a very entertaining brand of soccer, and they're scoring goals. And that's going to be huge for all of us back home watching. That's
probably why I stayed on it the whole first half, because they were scoring. I was interested. And the way they moved the ball, they were really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Christy, there's some other things that are curious to me about the Olympics as I've watched. Like Kristen Armstrong is the cycling coach. Is she related to Lance? I don't know. I'm curious. Like judo, they had they wear a coat and tie as a referee instead of wearing something athletic to be able to, move around the mat. Badminton, it's crazy.
I saw a little bit of that.
Who plays badminton like that?
Yeah.
Or ping pong?
Not me, man. That's crazy. No, hey, listen, I'm going to go back to what Beth was talking about soccer and about the offense and everything. And I know you always say for basketball, Debbie, shoot till your arm falls off. So would you say kick till your leg falls off?
Got it.
Yes, 100%. It applies to every sport. It's all about offense.
Oh, there you go. But but I also think, like, with soccer, the little segue there, I mean, there was a statement made by Dawn Staley at halftime or post game, I can't remember which one, of the men's USA basketball game yesterday. And Dawn Staley mentioned that Caitlin Clark, if they had to go back and do it again, they would maybe reconsider because of how well she has established herself in the WNBA, leading the league in assists. Debbie and Beth, what do you guys think of that statement by Dawn Staley yesterday about Caitlin Clark and how she has quickly matured into the possibility of making a USA basketball team?
Well, first, let me say this. I was kind of surprised that the game today was on Peacock or the USA Network. I thought for sure we would have been on primetime NBC. Let me say that's first thing. Secondly, since Dawn is on the selection committee, it's very interesting that she would reveal that, because I thought the selection committee would keep all their conversation. It can be her opinion afterwards. I don't know what that means about what her opinion was inside that circle, but I think that's interesting to bring that up now. I think NBC, NBA, and Nike are probably disappointed that Caitlin's not here because she would definitely have an impact on all those areas. I've called it Clarkonomics. Been calling it Clarkonomics since November. It's a real tangible thing.
Yeah.
Caitlin definitely brings a lot of excitement to the game. I understand why they may not have selected her based on looking for more experience, and of all the conversation about whether her skill set fits or the chemistry or whatever, the bottom line is USA basketball has to win. So Cheryl Reeve and the committee have to put together the best group that they think can win. That's it. And it's kind of like arguing with somebody's happiness. This makes me happy. You can't really argue if it makes me happy. Only I know if it makes me happy, right? I think in this particular situation, but it is interesting that Dawn would say that after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think if they win the gold, there will still be conversations about this, but that would probably soothe any type of what ifs that would pop up if they weren't to win the gold, which I don't think is going to happen. I think the United States will win it, but we are still very much in the promotion game, and if we're talking about attracting new viewership, I mean, look at what Clarkonomics has already provided, and from this standpoint of selling the sport and making sure that we have a lot of good young talent for the next Olympics. Mm-hmm. You could even make the case that Angel Reese should have had strong consideration to be on the team as the future faces of the game that have arrived a lot earlier, I think, than everybody expected, and perhaps even that the selection committee expected. Right. So I think so many people would have loved to have seen those two around. I think that for sure the game would have been on NBC, and all the games would have been on NBC. Hopefully, now that they see the quality of play around the United States and the chase for history, that they will continue to get more and more viewership. But I think from the standpoint of women's basketball, it's a win-win in terms of attention, because if Caitlin Clark was there, everybody would still want to talk about her. Caitlin Clark not being there, all the talk shows that are new to women's basketball are going to be talking about that aspect of it. So from that standpoint, there's going to be a ton of attention on the women's team. And hopefully, as we move forward, all that attention is on how amazing these athletes are and the success that they have had for the last 30 years.
Yeah, no doubt. And Mike Tirico asked Dawn Staley about that. It wasn't that she brought it up randomly. She's on live TV, got asked that question and summarized it in that way. So, I mean, she didn't know that she would be able to, translate her skill set that quickly to the pro level. But she said that, there was a huge leap that she took from, just graduating from Iowa and then making her way to the WNBA after a 4 or 5 day training camp. And then just going through the first half of the league and learning the WNBA game and being very successful at it. So I think it was a fair question from Tirico. And, I think Dawn Staley, she was asking, so she laid it out. So it's very intriguing to me. But she was an all-state soccer player, which is why I segued with soccer. So.
She had a poster of Mia Hamm on her wall in her room as a little girl.
How about that?
Yeah. I think, whenever the conversation is about the WNBA and it goes to Caitlin and Angel, it's not taking anything away from everyone else. And I think sometimes the players that have been there for a while have felt like, well, how come all of a sudden now these two show up, or mainly Caitlin shows up, and this is what happens? It's not bringing any less shine to them. Lisa Bluter used to tell the Iowa players all the time, Caitlin's light shines on everyone. In this situation, Caitlin's economic impact as the greatest disruptor in the history of our game from an economic standpoint is going to impact everyone. It
already has, right? Charter flights, they've been fighting for years. They got that. This new TV deal, wait till all the salaries start to go up.
Right.
And then there'll be a lot of appreciation, right?
Yes, I agree. I mean, I got some pushback earlier in the WNBA season, Beth, because I was talking about how grateful I was that Caitlin spent all that time at 5'11" and 150 pounds working on her game. She's not a freak. She's a regular athlete that is a little girl that grew up playing the game, loving the game, and kept working on her skill. I can't wait to see how many more, because I think in basketball, 5'11", 150 pounds is probably 75% of the people that play it. I can't wait to see how many more kids come up through youth sport into high school sport and are 5'11" and 150 pounds and try to do what Caitlin does. They're all out in the driveway emulating it. I know the little girls that are in my camp are talking about Caitlin Clark, and I don't even bring it up. They bring it up. It's amazing.
Well, hopefully after today, we also need those 6'3", 6'4" girls to be emulating Asia and Brittany and Stewie.
And not playing volleyball. Not playing volleyball.
Well, now hold on a tick, okay? Kamai is a friend of mine. We lost to China earlier today. 2 teams. That might be a forebearer of the gold medal match, but it's incredible moving forward. The 6'4", 6'5" girls And the fight that is going on right now between volleyball coaches and basketball coaches to get those women on their teams and not the other team.
Yeah, for sure. My daughter did both in high school. She hadn't played at all in volleyball before high school.
Yeah.
And I coached her for basketball in high school. So I was like, hey, go ahead and do your thing. She was middle. She rotated once, went straight up and down. And I was like, thank you, volleyball. No foul on the play. Good luck. Footwork was, yeah, let's go, Bree. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think it's great. You know, the more sports, the better. You know, you learn a new sport, you get new friends, all of it. So, you know, support if they want to play both. But, you know, shouldn't have to choose. I think you can do what you want.
Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of what you want, Beth, you can stay with us if you want, but we do have a new guest that has arrived.
Oh,
what up, ladies?
Oh my God!
Wow!
Look
at this.
Wait! I'm gonna be the Debbie. Are you kidding me? Stop that nonsense and say that Caitlin Clark at 5 whatever is like everybody else. Don't you can't tell me every Susie down the street.
Give it to her, Cheryl. Give it to her.
A Caitlin Clark.
They're going to try to.
She's special.
Listen,
Come on.
Yeah, speaking of special, nobody could do what the Cheryl Miller could do back in the day. She changed the game. You changed the game on the floor. I think Caitlin's doing, some economics.
Do you have a knee pads award at your camp, Debbie, in honor of Cheryl Miller? I mean, she wore the knee pads better than any volleyball player ever has, for crying out loud.
This is true. This is true.
Cheryl is the barometer.
A lot of knee pads for volleyball players, so thank you.
Cheryl, you are the barometer with which every player that has come through the NCAA has been measured by. You have been the standard. I like to say I played against you, but you won't remember. And I've covered everyone since then. It's absolutely amazing to watch what you were able to do when you were able to do it during, winning 2 championships and then going straight to the 84 Olympics. Tell us a little bit about your 84 Olympic experience.
It was a blur, actually. Actually, the games were a blur leading up to it with Pat and double, triple training sessions. That was the nightmare. That was the grind. I'll always remember those practices, long, grueling practices, the repetition. And I can understand where her mindset was. You had an all-star of teams. How do we get them to mesh? Which guard set combination works? I felt she never got it right because Kim Mulkey should have started. Nothing against Lee Henry. Lee, if you're listening, nothing against you. But Kim Mulkey was something special with that ball in her hand.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember watching that. I remember Kim Mulkey getting an and one. And she was excited. She was marching, and you shoved her in the back, and you're just like, we're just all riled up. My nose was right up on the screen, Cheryl. I will never forget that moment, man. Just imagine, like, now this USA team is inspiring kids like I was, right? And inside right now, my 10-year-old, 12-year-old self is like screaming, and my heart is pounding, but I'm fine. But I just remember how important the presence that you presented on the court every single time, what that meant for me, and the passion that I learned to develop because of you in the game, and the love of it is because of you. So I'm giving you all your flowers again. I know I grabbed you.
Can I take that lovely, bouquet and pass it on to Annie Myers Drysdale? She was the reason with the knee pads, the diving on the floor, diving for loose balls that they were 50-50 and your shot was probably 20-80, but you still did it anyways. That drive, that hunger, that dedication, that passion, I know my history. And I know where the love of the game came from. And the Nancy Liebermans and, Lynette Woodard, who was my idol. And then I get to play alongside in the 84 Olympics with her. Incredible. So a lot of people ask me this, and I always get a laugh at it. Cheryl, do you wish you were born now where you could play? No, I don't. I don't wish about the whole social media. because I'm doggone sensitive and thin-skinned. I would have never survived it. Are you kidding me? And my business out there? No, I was born at the right time. And the wonderful thing is, I'm not too old where people can't remember. And now the legendary stories are so great that I'm like, oh yeah, I possibly did that. Yeah, I dunked over 9 people. Yes, it might have been 8.
Yes. Cheryl, on the air, a lot of times Beth and I will reference the AIAW numbers and the pre-NCAA, and there's a big push right now for that to be counted. Where do you stand on all that?
Why not? It's our history.
Mm-hmm.
Why not embrace it? I think we, the one thing I think the men do a better job of, and that is embracing their history, understanding it, celebrating it. And I think sometimes we want to put an asterisk by something. Why? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me. Someone said that our 84 has an asterisk by it because, the Soviets weren't there. Didn't matter to me. They still have been beat down by 20. We already proved that. Proved that. So that didn't matter to me. What matters is that as women in our sports across the board, stop with the asterisks and just embrace it. Our rich, rich history.
Right. Yeah, no question. And I know with what Diana Taurasi has been able to do with her career, 20 years, Cheryl, 20 of them. You were there in Phoenix when they named the practice facility and the court after her. You were a coach with the Phoenix Mercury, the first one. What did that moment feel like for you? And what have you seen as Diana Taurasi has evolved through the WNBA for 20 seasons?
Here was this young, brash, young lady out of my neck of the woods in Riverside, next door neighbors, and she decided to go all the way across country, where I thought she would probably end up at UCLA, but that's a different story. But to watch her growth on and off the court, and her never losing sight of what was important, and that was paying it forward. She understood her role in women's basketball on the whole. And for her to grasp that so young was impressive. And, it was fitting. If you guys ever get the chance to walk through that practice facility, and, Christy, we've been around the NBA and seen a lot of facilities. There might be 2% NBA teams that have facilities like this. It is that incredible, ladies. I mean, so futuristic. They got chefs cooking for them. They got everything in there. And then to see her, DT's emotion and the tears in her getting choked up and her name on it, it was fitting. And what a great city. And, they continue to just take it to a different level. There's something about Phoenix and new ownership. Matt is something else. And he has set the bar high. He loves women's sports, women's basketball, and he's the first rich man to put his money where his mouth is, and he cracks open his wallet, and he's wise and he's intentional with it.
Love it.
You're right about that. Matt Ishbia has, seems like a bottomless wallet. I had a chance to spend some time with him when I was out there before the All-Star game, Cheryl, when I had a couple of Phoenix games. The whole idea of investment in the women's game. We've all been asking for this for so long. Every single one of us have wanted to always play in front of crowds, play in front of TV. I never got to play on television. You got to play on television in the early parts of it. It's starting to become a thing. CBS was carrying the national championship. Now you see every game is on, whether it's streamed or whether it's carried on a higher platform or not. When you're looking at from your lens, from where you were as one of the greats all time to play the game, and you see where the game is going, what do you think is the next 5 or 10 years from now?
Whew. Wow. The one constant that I hope continues is that our young ladies, I want the salaries to go through the roof. I certainly do. But I don't want our college kids to start jumping ship too early. Please keep that narrative, those wonderful storylines, budding up through college that just catapult leading into the WNBA, which we've seen with Kaylin and name it an Angel, and those two, and the wonderful stories and the richness of the pool of talent that we have coming through college, and to look forward to year after year. I want the salaries to go through the roof. I want us to start having a negotiating team that is so crazy stingy where they're going to reach for the stars, the stratospheres, and end up with a deal that's near heaven. That's what I'm looking for, that heaven sweet spot that, the women will understand that is just a platform that we have over decades and decades of hard work of everyone to get to a certain pinnacle, but we're not done yet. And Debbie, you were absolutely right. Just because a couple young ladies came in with wonderful storylines doesn't negate what their contributions are. Mm-hmm. And let's call it as it is. We need to stop being petty as women.
Mm-hmm. Well, that next big catapult, Cheryl, may come in your hometown when the Olympics come to Los Angeles, and
right,
you and Taurasi and Annie, and we'll all be over your house and
put us on the list right now, Cheryl. Put us on the list.
Maybe Juju's on that team. Who knows? How exciting is that going to be for you guys to be able to, sort of full circle, bring the games back to LA, where for so many of you, that's where it started.
Well, I didn't even know the backstory was that no one in Los Angeles wanted the Olympics here. They just knew it was going to be an absolute disaster. It was just going to be a money pit, and we were going to end up Los Angeles being the laughingstock of the world. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that it worked out great. It was supposed to be this huge, not only power grid outages, and the traffic was going to be, nobody was going to be able to get to point A to point B because it was like a ghost town on the freeways. It was, I mean, scarcer than the COVID-19 and everything else. It was pre-COVID, and it was wonderful and beautiful. But we're ready for it. And the '84 Olympics was the most successful financial Olympics. So we're ready for it. And now that we had a taste of it, and we go big or go home.
Right.
Thank you for bringing me back to the '84 Olympics.
Oh man, I remember that. That's a woo.
How about that?
Wow.
That's
so awesome. Hey, listen, when you were, after the Olympics and all of that, obviously no WNBA for you to go to, right? What did that feel like for you? And with the overseas being an option, what did you do with yourself? Because I mean, my God, you were 22, 23 years old. What was your mindset, and how did you feel during those years?
Well, I was excited actually. After looking at 2 more years of college, and of course my mindset is, I'm going overseas and make a killing. But that wasn't going to be the case. After my senior year in the pickup game, tore my knee up, and that was a wrap. So for me, that future was already decided. Now, what I was going to do next, I didn't know. Somebody said that I was semi-decent in front of a camera, a little bit about basketball, and I I followed in the footsteps of Annie Meyers. And she was the first broadcaster for college men and women. And, I followed her footsteps in that, and then veered off into the NBA with TNT. And that's how I just kept myself busy.
Yeah. I have to tag that because you were the analyst for our game at Texas when I was playing at Maryland. Where's my?
Oh, God. Yes.
Yeah, and I got hit with the ball in the layup line because my eyes were fixated on you at the time. And I mean, I'm such a fan right now, but I'm just going to be transparent. I'm just telling it like it is. That's exactly what happened. I was in that moment. I was majoring in communications, but you say Annie Meyers was that for you. You were that for me. So the way you feel about her is how I feel about you. And getting into TV was a lot of that had to do with with your role in front of the camera and having that representation there for me. So wow, I didn't even know that she gave you that, but now you know again that you gave that to me. So thank you.
Well, that's the message, ladies, that we've all been doing, paying it forward, correct?
Yeah.
We just pay it forward. We receive a gift and we hand it back off to someone else. And Christy, I will say this. I've watched you throughout the years broadcasting, and you have the same thing that I always look for sideline reporters or just broadcasters in general, especially women. Are they listening, and do they respect her?
Mhm.
And is she listening to what they're saying and following up? And nothing gets past you. And you do your homework, because I can tell you do your homework, and you are terrific at what you do. So, man, kudos to you. Absolute kudos to you.
Cheryl, we made her run around the block 5 times before we let her come on this interview with you.
You're too kind. You're too kind. But no.
But
The last thing,
Isn't it amazing though how
Little
How
things
I-
you got it going on. You
Yeah.
are a blessing to listen to and to watch. So yeah, and you are setting, you're laying it out for young ladies who are following you and in your footsteps. So just know you've done an excellent job. I'm very proud of you.
thank you.
Isn't it interesting though? I'm guessing it's probably somewhat similar for you guys. I've never experienced a problem with a player or a coach, because as former athletes, you are given the opportunity to prove yourself. You're given the opportunity to, hey, I've earned the right to hold this microphone, and I'm going to be able to show you what I can do. I've always thought that's been pretty cool. And you can always tell, Debbie, who the real players are, because they have their jerseys above them. And we have the booze and the Emmy Awards. That's all we get.
The booze. Cheryl, I want to ask you one more thing, because we're sort of, we're talking about the past and the present and the future, and there's a resurgence at Southern Cal, your alma mater, and Juju Watkins is absolutely amazing. Beth and I were in Southern Cal the day that Will Ferrell was at the game, and we got you on camera sitting on Will Ferrell's lap,
Yes.
which was really, I'm wondering what he whispered to you, and I want to know what's going on like at Southern Cal with Lindsey Gottlieb and Juju and all the fans and everybody just so excited about the product there in LA now.
Well, first of all, Will said, Cheryl, you are devastatingly cute. And I said,
Of course.
and I said, and you're the funniest white boy I've ever met in my life. And, it went south from there. But it just shows you what Lindsey Gottlieb is. Genius. She's a genius. She did what every other coach that stepped into this program and on this campus wouldn't do. And that was to reach out to us individually. And we're not talking about that stanky newsletter, funky, and half the time they got the L before the Y and it looks like Shirley Miller. And I was like, these guys are camp. Oh my gosh.
No.
But she actually got a list, got numbers, and started hunting down all the players, as many players, and inviting them. And when my point guard, Rhonda Wyndham, said, hey, we're going to go to a game, I'm like, I hadn't heard from Lindsey, and I just heard all this stuff. But it was Beth Burns who reached out. And I love Beth. And Beth is, Cheryl, I need you here, and that's the end of it, and da-da-da-da. We're doing neat things, da-da-da. And can you get over here as soon as I said da-da-da? And all I heard was da-da-da. I said, yeah, I'll. So we went from there. We went to the game. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are, she's good. Like, you see kids and you hear about the hype and everything else, and you see all the highlights. I don't care about highlights. I really don't. But to see her in person at both ends of the floor and to watch a young kid kind of navigate what's going on and having tons and tons of different defenses run at them, just like I was saying, I was talking about Matt Ishaba, and putting your wallet where your money and your mouth is and all that. I bought 4 season tickets. I've never had a season ticket. Bought a season ticket at SC. So I bought 4 courtside. And a lot of my teammates did. So we had our alumni row at dang near every game. And the excitement grew from there. And what Beth and Lindsay have done is incredible. And they might be 2 seasons away from doing some major damage. This year, if the cards fall right and everybody's healthy and that chemistry hits, they added some talent. These guys they're gonna make some noise this season.
They're going to be preseason top 5 for sure.
Yes.
I don't think there's any question there. And I think you're right about the pieces they've added. Kiki Iriafen is going to be a beast around what Juju does. This is going to be really fun to watch, as you said it, the genius, because Lindsay Gottlieb is an incredible offensive mind. I can't wait to see what she comes up with. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. What do you think that's going to look like in the Big Ten, like for USC?
Now that is frightening. That is terrifying. I'm like, oh wow, it just got real, with the flights and how that's going to work. And, I mean, these kids still have to go to school, and that's still the goal is to get an education. I know that's a little on the back burner, but, as women, that's what we do. I just think that conference is absolutely going to be a beast. And by the time that's done and finished, you might be looking at who's coming out of there as the national champion.
Well, they open up their season in Paris. So maybe, Cheryl, if you can get us on your G5, we can all roll on over there and enjoy the game courtside.
Ron Miller.
Super.
Oh, yeah.
Ron Miller. It's the other Miller with the no, I'll try to see if I can get him on the phone with that, but man, that's going to be incredible, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Well, Cheryl, we have loved having you on. We hope you'll come back. We would love to have you whenever you want to come on. You're welcome.
Oh, wait.
Christy, you can close us out because I know you can't wait to get the last.
I have to ask one question about today.
Sure. I got time. Go ahead.
Game. Just what did you like about what USA basketball looked like today in the game in terms of their effectiveness and efficiency?
Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart, the world has no answer for those two. Their skill set is so ridiculous. From both of them being able to shoot the 3, put the ball on the ground, and not only create and get to the rim, create and get a teammate open, defend, transition, run like guards. The world has no answer. So all you have to do, you have 2, you need 3 more, and you got a few more. It's just a matter of getting those rotation, and it's gonna change up every opponent. I was very impressed. I mean, the game's everybody's nervous. Japan came out shooting the 3s, and that was the only way they stayed in the game. But size doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And USA has size in abundance, with speed, with guards. And if I'm Coach Reeves, I'm sitting back and rolling out the ball. Occasional timeout, knuckleheads. Let's play some defense. All right, focus, ladies, focus. They'll be fine.
Well,
What you
did get a win, Cheryl. You did beat them. Come on now. Let's talk about what'd you do to celebrate.
All I did was roll out the ball. I told Enrique, I'm going to go get you.
That's going to be every kid this year.
I hope you trademark that. I hope you trademarked it.
I said, hey.
Bring it down.
And she came out and dang near dropped 50. I was like, man. But Coach Reeves is in the same position I was. Sometimes the best move is to let them do what they can do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Man, that's Shirley Miller. She sure can coach.
Yeah.
I'm like that beloved substitute teacher that comes in and everybody listens to because the foundation was already set. All I had to do was mark on the board, win, baby, just win. That was it. Now every WNBA team wants to employ me. Don't do it.
There you go.
Do it.
Hey, you got to be on the short list now. Come on now, this is serious. Yeah, you're on the short list, baby. Come on.
Yeah, I might be on the short bus if I decide to do that.
USA men's soccer needs a coach, Cheryl.
Hey,
It's you.
That might be right up my alley.
hey, but listen, I love that you said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having a lot of fun. Listen, I don't know what I'm doing right now. We're about to bounce out of here.
That's my motto.
Oh my God, man. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight, just FYI on that. But I mean, it's been a blessing, a thrill, and a joy to my heart to be able to have this conversation with all three of you. And I thank you.
Ladies rock.
You guys. What'd you say, honey?
You ladies rock. You guys,
my
thank you. You made my day.
Thank you, Gaze.
We admire, we respect, we love. That's all we do here. Thank you, Cheryl. We really appreciate it. We're going to have you back, and we're definitely going to get Mowens back too. This might be a good little.
How do I do the balloons and the hearts? I gotta get up to speed on that.
I don't know how I did the hearts. Oh, there they go. Yay. I love it.
We got no love. That's why we got no love.
Cheryl's got balloons and everything. Hey, listen.
Got a little confetti going on. Come on, make it rain. Come on. Wish those were dollar bills, baby. Wish they were dollar bills.
We appreciate you guys for joining us live. Hopefully we can do this again as the summer evolves and WNBA resumes after USA brings home their 8th gold medal after winning 56 consecutive games going back to 1992. So I'm Christy Winter-Scott for Debbie Antonelli, for Beth Mowens, and my idol, my sports hero for life, Cheryl Miller, man. Oh my God. Always love. She's got the fireworks now, man. What's going on in her little cube? I need all that love. But we appreciate you. And that's going to do it for Hoopin' with Christy and Debbie and Beth and Cheryl on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. We will see you all next time. Love.